Good evening. Welcome to the April 16, 2026 meeting of the Mount Juliet Municipal and Regional Planning Commission meeting. Thank everybody for being here tonight. Got a semi-full house and a pretty big agenda tonight. For those that might have seen, Commissioner Giles was with us momentarily ago. He wanted me to extend his apologies. He has a personal matter that requires his immediate attention, and so he had asked for me to extend his apologies that he will be absent for the remainder of tonight's meeting. With that being said, I do like to start our meeting by reading our quorum requirements for the Planning Commission. It states that the presence of 5 members of the commission shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of business. The chairperson may, at his or her discretion, wait up to 30 minutes after the scheduled meeting time for a quorum to be present. In the event that a member is required to leave a meeting prior to adjournment and the departure causes a loss of quorum, no further official action may be taken until a quorum is restored other than an adjournment. A majority vote of those commissioners present, and in no case less than 4 affirmative votes, shall be required to decide any item of business requiring action from the commission. Our next item up is to set our agenda. I am not aware of any changes, amendments. Seeing none, we will set the agenda as stated. Our next item up on the agenda will be our staff reports. Begin with our city planner, Mr. John.
I don't have anything today. Nothing unusual. Nothing interesting.
It's easy like Sunday morning.
But yeah.
Yes, sir. Very well. Shane, Public Works.
Old Lebanon Dirt Road widening is under contract. The resolution passed this week at the BOC, and we're pleased to announce that construction is scheduled to start in June. So I know a lot of people have been seeing the heartburn and the utility relocations going on Lebanon Dirt Road, but the widening is coming, and I just want to give a lot of credit to former Director Barlow, all public works directors of the past, now Director White, of getting this thing to the finish line, and our residents will finally see improved roadway and multi-use path going in. So I think they're looking at about 2 years of construction. So give our residents that heads up. Go have some cones in the road.
Very well.
And our EQ basin, people notice as you're on your way out of town, there's a big concrete structure on the north side of a Lebanon Dirt Road. We're progressing steadily with that, and we hope to be done with that in October. So that won't have any impact or any conflicts with the road winding project, but we're just hitting these capital projects, and some big things are coming to the city. So that concludes my report.
Well, what are the boundaries of the widening for Old Lebanon Dirt Road?
Chandler Road to Moreland Farms.
Very well. Nice. Wonderful. Todd, anything for us from the roads over there? Very well. Our next item up our agenda falls underneath our citizen comments. At this time, we will take citizen comments. Public is welcome and encouraged to make public comment about any item on our agenda. There will be 2 opportunities for comments. You may speak now, or you may speak when the item is presented to the Planning Commission. We do ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes or less, and anyone that wishes to address the Planning Commission at this time is welcome and encouraged to do so. Please come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. Seeing no citizen comments at this time, we'll move forward with our first item up on the agenda, which is item 5A. It is to review the minutes from the March 19th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting. Please. Yeah. And you can speak now or when the item is presented to the planning. So you want to go ahead and talk now?
Anyway, I just had a general comment. So,
sounds good. Name and address for the record.
My name is Paul Garrettson. I live at 100 Catalpa Drive. Is the Long White Ranch house. It's on the corner. It's a corner lot on Catalpa and Old Pleasant Grove Road. I'm here tonight because I just had we just moved to the community on February 28th. My wife and I bought the house. We're here now. Love being part of Mount Juliet community. It's been great so far. I was at the city commission meeting the other night. It was great. People care, they talk, and I really appreciated that. For this committee group that's meeting, I know that down the road, y'all have plans in place now to put in a sidewalk that's going to eat up a massive portion of my front yard. And as I was thinking about that, I just wanted to come and say that as we get closer through that planning and over the course of obtaining the easements, I just wanted you to think about the people that are actually impacted by that, such as, for instance, my daughter here, who's not going to have a front yard anymore. Also, just the general look of things when you're doing city planning. The sidewalk that's supposed to be in place now is going to be 10 foot wide, eat up a massive portion of my yard. The rest, the Lowe's near my house, the Walmart near my house, the Dodge dealership near my house, the Heritage Medical Associates near my house, the Culvers near my house, they don't have 10-foot sidewalks. The Glass Creek apartments that are already there don't have a 10-foot sidewalk. The apartments that are going up are going to be are apparently, I guess, part of why we're now going to need to build this potentially. And this doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense to me because you're going to go from the 5 or 6 foot into a 10 foot. And I just thought that was interesting. When I was looking at sidewalks, I also thought it was interesting. I didn't know if anybody knows this, but apparently it's against the city ordinance. You can't spit on a public sidewalk. I thought that was fascinating. But if you're a property owner that is connected to a sidewalk, you are responsible for keeping it clean. You're also responsible for shoveling snow, which I thought was also interesting. So I can shovel the snow once you get the 10-foot sidewalk built, but I can't spit on it. And I thought that was funny. Anyway, when you get it built, because I know how government works, I know you'll obtain the easement. I know that I'll lose ultimately in the end. I just want you to maybe consider those things, consider alternatives. It is possible to put amendment language in ordinances that require 10-foot things like that. It would be maybe also topographically impractical to do so. You could also look at fiscal reasons to not do so. I'd much rather not. And I'll tell you one thing. I talked to Mr. Bobby Franklin the other day. I would not even bother showing up if it was just a 5 or 6 foot sidewalk. I won't even be a pain in anybody's side if it was just that. The 10 foot's really the only reason I'm here. 6 foot would look reasonable. I think I'm probably right at my time. But anyway, all I have to say, I do appreciate all of you. I will be back at all of these meetings on the third Thursdays, so long as I'm not traveling for work. I'm only here tonight because of this, and my little one, my wife would be here, but she had to travel out of the country this morning for an international work trip. So thankfully, my firm let me fly back in last night from Detroit to be here so I could be with you all. But appreciate y'all. Looking forward to meeting with you. If you're interested in learning more about Pleasant Grove Road in my area and why this is a bad idea, come over. I'll make you some awesome sweet tea. Mine's really good, not biased. And have barbecue. We'll have a good old time. Appreciate you all. You're great.
Thank you. Any additional citizen comments? See no additional citizen comments at this time. We'll move forward to our next item up on the agenda, which would be item 5A, to review the minutes from the March 19th, 26 Planning Commission meeting. Any comments, changes, adjustments, typos? Seeing none, looking for a motion in regards to this item on our agenda. It's a motion. A second. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. Against? Abstentions? 2. Very well. Next item up on the agenda falls underneath our consent agenda. We'll begin with item 6A, which is sewer letter of credit. Number SLC 00006446 for Capstone at Mount Juliet in the amount of $101,640 can be released. Item 6B, review the site plan modification for the pavilion on the RTA property located 2163 North Mount Juliet Road. Item 6C, review the final plat for Windtree Pines, Phase 9, located off Windtree Club Drive. And item 6D, review the final plat for Walton's Grove, Phase 8, located at 10749 Central Pike. Begin with City Planner, Mr. John.
Sure thing. Approval with all the conditions as stated. I will comment on Mr. Cersei's comment last time about the fence on Windtree. So this plat, we will not sign this plat until that fence is in. That's how that'll be
well.
That'll be the easy way to hold them to that constructing that fence. And we have the had correspondence with the developer. We've seen the fence detail. Shouldn't be an issue, but we can always just put the plat in a corner and sit on it until they install the fence. So that's how we'll hold them to that.
That is great news.
Yes.
I'm sure
All good.
Commissioner Searcy will be very pleased with that.
Yes.
Perfect. Shane, anything from Public Works?
Staff recommends approval with our comments as listed.
Questions, comments from the commission? Commissioner Rice.
Just a question. I don't have any problem with, I'm certainly for it. Anything the Rotary does, I'm behind it. But the pavilion in that park area, is that part of a bigger plan? Or is it just putting the
No.
pavilion in?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Got a donation. I'm gonna put it in the park and
Okay.
hopefully could spur something else. I hope could have something to do there. It'd be nice to have something in there. Yeah.
Questions? Any further questions, comments? This time, let's call for citizen comments in regards to any of the items on our consent agenda. Anyone wishing to make comments, welcome, encouraged to do so. Come to the microphone, name and address for the record. Seeing no citizen comments at this time, we do need to close our planning commission meeting in order to open a public hearing. Public hearing is in regards to items 6C and 6D. Item 6C is to review the final plat for Windtree Pines, Phase 9, located off Windtree Club Drive. Item 6D is to review the final plat for Walton's Grove, Phase 8, located at 10749 Central Pike. Anyone wishing to make comment about either of those items during the public hearing is welcome and encouraged to do so. Please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Seeing no citizen comments at this time, we'll close our public hearing, reopen our planning commission meeting, and at which time I am looking for a motion in regards to the items on our consent agenda.
Motion to approve with conditions.
It's a motion. A second. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. Against? Abstentions? So approved. Next item up on our agenda is item 7A. It is to review the mass grading plan for Providence Central West, located at 7110 Central Pike. Shane, Public Works.
This is the next component of the Providence Central PUD. They're working on the west side of Central Pike. They brought this mass grading plan into, like I said, to get underway with their next component of construction and development on this side. We've also conditioned that the grading be compliant with the TDOT interchange that's coming in, and I'm going to let Todd discuss more of that.
Very well. Todd?
So when this PUD originally came through, there was plans for TDOT to realign John Hager Road into their extension of Providence Parkway. That connection has since been shifted. So John Hager is going to tie directly into Central Pike, just further south than where it does now. However, because their PUD shows access to John Hager, they are required to provide access to John Hager. That was a change that we had to work through with them. You know, TDOT kind of changed the game on both us and Providence Central a little bit. So we are currently working through that road alignment. They have a great 2D alignment already provided to us, but it will impact some of the grading, particularly, there's kind of 3 areas of steep grading on, call it lot 1, if you've seen the plat. That middle section of steep grading, that is currently in the alignment of the roadway, and that's going to have to move a little bit. They're just going to shift out where that grade line is, though. So their cut fill will still work before it's approved by Public Works and Engineering. It's just we got a small amount of work to do once this plan comes through planning.
Very well. And you guys have spoken with the applicant, and the applicant is on the same page?
Yes.
Very well. Questions, comments from the commission? Commissioner Franklin, please.
Yeah, just one question about the gas easement that's on the southern side of that track. Do you know whether or not there's anything that they're going to force upon the development with respect to improving those gas lines for density?
I would have to defer to the representative of the development team on that.
When Providence came in, they had to do a major gas line project to increase the walls of the gas line because of the number of people. Whenever they run this gas line, it was very rural. And so they didn't use I guess, the thickest wall. And there's 3 of them. They're 3 foot in diameter. And in 2004, they cost 500 a foot a piece to do. I was just, if you don't know, you don't know, but you might want to mention it because there's something in their easement that says if there's enough people within a certain amount of distance from them, that upgrade has to happen.
We have representation here. Would you like to speak to that? Or maybe answer that question? Name and address for the record.
Good evening, Joe Haddix, Heritage Civil, 2055 North Mount Juliet Road. Great question, Mr. Franklin. We can help with the gas company talk. I know they upgraded a couple years ago. They were down there and they upgraded at least one of the lines down on that end of Central Pike. Seem to recall as we were developing some of the Providence Parkway, the previous Providence Parkway extension. Happy to check on the rest. We have this side of Providence Central in particular doesn't have any residential planned on that end. It's all just commercial space down on that south end on the west side of Central Pike. But happy to work with the city. Shane and Matt White and myself worked with them to get Providence Parkway widened, crossing them, which was a big hang up for years. So we finally got that approved to widen to the full 5-lane section you see now. So
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions, comments from the commission? Seeing none at this time, I'd like to ask for citizen comments in regards to this item on the agenda. Anyone wishing to make comments, welcome, encouraged to do so. Please come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. See no citizen comments at this time. I'm looking for a motion in regards to this item on our agenda. Motion to approve? It's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. Against? Abstentions? So approved. Next item up on our agenda is item 7B, is to review the preliminary plat for Providence Central West located at 7110 Central Pike. Mr. John?
Sure thing, thank you. This is the preliminary plat associated with the mass grading we were just talking about. In the conditions, you'll see I got number 2, one of the 2 conditions. Obviously, there's not a whole lot to be said about this on my end other than the 2 conditions. And number 2, we got to remove because that question has been solved. There was some ambiguity on to where the zoning lines lie out there, and we have determined that is not an issue anymore. So we go back to COVID era approvals, and we find the one where they changed the zoning on those parcels. So everything should be good there with that. So just recommend approval with 1 condition.
Very well. Shane, Public Works, anything on this?
Our only condition is that Lot 1 will need an additional plat to dedicate the right-of-way for the public roadway that we just talked about connecting Providence Parkway and John Hager.
Very well.
Site plan approval.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the commission? See no questions or comments from the commission. This time, let's call for citizen comments in regards to this item on the agenda. Anyone wishing to make comments, welcome and encouraged to do so. Please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. See no citizen comments at this time. I'd like to ask for a motion in regards to this item on our agenda.
Make a motion to approve the staff comments striking planning and zoning number 2.
It's a motion
Second.
and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. Against? Abstentions? So approved. Next item up on our agenda falls underneath the site plan. We'll begin with item 8A. That is to review the site plan condition reconsideration for Texas Roadhouse located at 105 Bear Crossing. Mr. Shane?
The developer team has requested to remove a multi-use path that would be installed along the right-of-way of frontage of this site and ultimately connect to a receiving ADA ramp at the on-ramp onto I-40. Since it goes against code, we do not support this waiver request. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, ladies and gentlemen, to discuss and provide a resolution of this. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you. Questions, comments from the commission? We'll begin there.
Shane, is is this trail expected to connect to something else in the future as part of a bigger plan? Todd?
Yeah, so obviously north of the interstate, we've seen every site plan that comes in, we've been requiring 10-foot trail. This particular one connects us to the bridge to get over the interstate. There is a section of trail south of the interstate along the ER frontage, with the goal being to connect that when the other properties on Summit Boulevard develop. And a goal would be for the city to add a bicycle and pedestrian facility on the bridge, understanding that that is a capital project that we take on. Right now, there's a 10 to 12 foot shoulder, which is an allowable bike ped facility. Certainly not our preferred one, but
And then further on down Beckwith, as well as that's expanded and improved upon.
yes, the long-term plans for Beckwith south of the interchange are somewhat in flux as development plans change down there. We've had conversations with people who are looking down there, but we do plan to widen Beckwith south of the interstate, and that will include 10-foot paths.
Do you have other connecting in south of that one yet? Are they in front of the car wash and the Chipotle? That already exists. I mean, I've been there, I just haven't noticed it.
Yes, in front of the Whataburger, the new bank, the car wash, there's a path. There is not currently one between this site and those sites because that stretch between Rutland and Legacy Boulevard hasn't developed yet. As that comes in, we'll fill in that gap. And honestly, pretty shortly, we should have a full 10-foot path from the interstate all the way to Division.
Shane,
I
you
was
had
just
some
gonna say,
input on that,
That
please?
parcel he's talking about, the representatives of that parcel have reached out to me, and they're looking to start going through the development process soon. So that, I think Twice Daily owns that currently, so that is coming imminently.
Very well. President?
I think just a general concern is that we're encouraging pedestrians to walk across the interstate entrance ramp. Like, that's the part that I'm just like, I'm confused about. Like, understand it's code, and at the end of the day, planning and engineering and public works, you have to rely on code. Code is what you operate on. But I'm sitting here and I'm looking and I'm like, we're encouraging pedestrians to walk across an entrance ramp to an interstate. So, I mean, that's my concern. And that's why I would be in favor of the waiver, because I don't feel comfortable saying that I approved encouraging somebody to walk across an interstate ramp. But yeah.
Plus, PDOT owns that right away, and I can't imagine them going for this at all. But, I mean, it's their right away.
The question I've got is who's responsible for signing and marking this and providing a continuation? If there isn't currently continuation over the bridge, is this just cordoned off where people are not allowed to go there? Or is there going to be something in capital project that puts that signing in, to make it a safe place or safer place for people to be?
We do not currently have a project funded or designed to provide a path on the bridge. However, we have provided the ADA crossing that currently, as existing, puts you on the far shoulder of the bridge. And this connects into that.
It's definitely the safest way to get from one side of Golden Bear south to the bridge. If you try to do it on the east side, you're crossing two oncoming lanes, people coming off the interstate. So it's the shortest path to get to the bridge currently.
And this might be for the city attorney. I'm just trying to think this through. If something were to happen there and an accident happens, does the liability fall upon the city, or does the liability fall upon the developer in this instance. And with it being on TDOT right away, does it fall on the state? Yeah.
I'll tell you that. Sorry, I helped buy that right away, and they, TDOT's gotten a whole lot better with sidewalks. Back in '05, they didn't want sidewalks on any of the state highways. I mean, they didn't. They fought us tooth and toenail, but now, they're pretty reasonable about it, but I just can't see it.
Well, and I mean, an entrance ramp too. I mean, granted, it's at the start of it, but the point of an entrance ramp is an acceleration ramp at the end of the day. You are to try to go fast to match the speed so you can merge on. So the fact that we would have a spot there where people would be yielding to pedestrians or bikes, it seems like trouble to me. But
Todd, did you say that the bridge right now can't currently accommodate a path across it, right?
I did not.
No, I'm saying, is that possible?
There would need to be a structural evaluation to determine whether the dead load of a raised path impacts the bridge. I think most realistically, if we were to put a path across the bridge, it might just be vertical separation, like a Jersey barrier or something probably more aesthetically pleasing. Because we can get down to 8 foot. We currently have 10 to 12 in that shoulder. Again, we do not have a plan at this moment to do that. It is not on our books. It's not funded. It is a long-term vision.
Well, then that would stand the point we've used the term before. It's kind of a sidewalk to nowhere then, because if it can't go across the bridge, how long did it take us to get the one Mount Juliet Road back, redone? A long time. So, yeah.
Commissioner Rice?
Todd, can we offer something? I mean, yeah, we do the sidewalks to nowhere quite often and we get accused of that, but I mean, it's better to have them build it while they're developing it than us to come back and pay for it 5-10 years from now. How about a compromise? Have them build the trail up to their southern property line and just terminate it there. And when we have more of a plan for taking it across the bridge, that's just a little bit more trail for us to do. Does that make more sense?
Yeah, I mean, if the concern is getting them, like, where do they go once they're across the ramp?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I do want to push back a little bit on the design as shown. This is the standard crosswalk across interstate ramp entrances. It's what we've got on North Mount Juliet Road. And there are inherent risks involved as a pedestrian when you're crossing these facilities. We've all done it. I assume it's no riskier than what we do in any other interstate, though. And we're going to have them at Central Pike. We're going to have them at North Mount Juliet Road.
I do agree with
Eventually,
you.
we're going to have them here.
I do agree with you, but
Um,
if there's no place for them to go currently, I mean, in those
Yeah.
other instances, there's place for them to go. Here,
Yeah,
there's no
and
place for them to go.
I do think if we want to hold off until there's connectivity to the south, cutting it off a few feet shy of the ramp itself, I will caution that is not going to stop a able-bodied pedestrian if they're choosing to do so, if they want to cross the bridge. Technically, the fact that there's not a path here wouldn't stop someone who is really determined to walk anyway.
Yeah, then I'd rather do that than encourage it.
Let's go ahead and call for representation to the project, please, and name and address for the record.
Mark Lineberry, and I'm the developer from Texas Roadhouse. So I think you all have covered a lot of my concerns. The real concern was getting out to where it crosses the crosswalk. Where, I don't want to encourage kids, especially going down that walkway and ending up in the middle of the interstate, which is what's going to happen. I like the compromise of we stop it at our property line. I can't complain about that. I think that alleviates the liability issue, because that's really what I'm concerned about. That's why I've got a cameraman here, because we end up in court. I want it noted that I objected to this. I'm talking about court with a civil lawyer, because I think this is a lawyer's dream to get a case from this. So I can't complain if we, if we were to stop it before it makes that turn and goes out toward the on-ramp. I'm sorry, did I answer the question?
No. Just wanted to kind of share your side and your vision or
Sure.
or even potential solutions.
Sure. Well,
You're the site developer, so
I don't know
feedback's
that there's a good solution to this. There's going to be some risk, however the things finally put in. But one thing that I've noted is that if you're standing down there at that crosswalk, it's about 400 feet, 350 to 400 feet back up to Rutland Road. If your car traveling from Costco coming back toward the interstate, you can't see that crosswalk until you pass Rutland Road. So you've got 350 feet to react, slam your brakes on, and stop if there's somebody in the crosswalk. It takes a truck from 45 mile an hour, 250 feet to stop. So I think there's some other things that may have looked good on paper that may need to be reconsidered about this when the ramp is finally, when everything's finally done, when the city gets around to doing all that. But right now, like it is, encouraging somebody to get out in that median or on the bridge is a terrible idea.
Thank you.
I made some videos out there, but I'll spare y'all.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe even a signage right there at that terminus point, if that's the terminus point of it, says,
Put up a fence,
Yeah.
barricade or something.
kind of, this is where the trail ends.
Yeah.
Please turn around and go visit Texas Roadhouse.
Exactly. We saw the big balloon mascot. We put that right there.
You have to get a sign permit. Further questions, comments from the commission? Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
This time, let's go ahead and call for citizen comments in regards to this item on the agenda. Any citizens wishing to make comment are welcome and encouraged to do so. Please come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. See no citizen comments at this time. No further discussion. Let's open it up. Looking for a motion in regards to this item on our agenda.
Since I offered it up, I'll make a motion to approve with the change or the condition that they terminate at the southern property line and install proper signing to be worked out with the city.
It's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. Against? Abstentions? So approved. Next item up on the agenda is item 8B, is to review the site plan for New Tribe Church located at 260 Clemens Road. Mr. John?
Thing, we got 260 Clemens across the street from Caddy Corner, across the street from Public Works Building, Planning Building Department. What they propose here, you've seen this before. I think they had a mass grading permit a while ago. Maybe 2024. It's 750 seat, 29,795 square foot church facility. The biggest issues with this align with these waivers and variances here. I guess that's most of the comments of the conditions of approval are fairly typical. They are asking for a waiver, and as you can see in the staff report, it's primarily metal siding. They've got a little bit of masonry on the front of the west facade, which will be the front of the building. But it's primarily metal. In preliminary meetings with this applicant, we've encouraged them to take a look at that a little bit closer. I will say in this particular instance is that they are way off the road, and they've got to the east, you have industrially zoned empty land. To the north, you've got some industrial uses. You've got some county zone residential land around it, but it is off the road quite a bit. It's on the back of a lot because they got wetlands and physical constraints. So that's up to, that's what they're asking for there. The waiver number 2 on the landscape buffers, we do not support it. And that's what that exhibit I handed out around there was. That basically shows you where it's up against residential or industrial zoning. However, this is not a PUD, so they don't have the authority to ask for that waiver. So that one is a no, can't, moot point at this point. I have a condition in here regarding something about sidewalk or pedestrian accommodations from the right of way up to the building. They've got quite a distance from the road to the building, and a fairly large parking lot in front of the building. And they have provided striping from the right of way to that parking lot. I'm not so sure that I feel it's that necessary to stripe additionally up to the building, given the conditions out there. I'd be all right with that condition going away, of course, if you guys agree, you guys and girls agree. But other than that, I think the comments are pretty straightforward. The big stuff here is they're going to have to do the landscape buffers, and their waiver request is subject to y'all's opinions and what you want to say there. Let me think if there's anything else here on this particular one. Oh, conditional use permit. It's in RS40 zoning, and that's a condition. They've got the conditional use permit for 750 seats, so that part of it is covered. Yeah. And if you have any questions, be happy to answer. Try to.
Will the landscape buffer force them to either move or eliminate any of those boundary parking spaces that might then put them under the?
Perhaps, but I think they have enough room there. They could probably recoup them.
Okay.
No, they'd have to recoup them. I think they're slightly over parked right now,
Okay.
so they might be able to finesse that a little bit.
Let's go ahead and move over to Public Works. Shane, anything on this one?
There's a force main that runs along the front of this property, so that's how they'll be obtaining sewer. So we'll coordinate with the grinder pump purchase with the applicant through utilities. We revised our sewer availability letter to reflect that change since the development to the north installed that force main. Outside of that, I'll hand it over to Todd if he's got any other additional comments, but we do recommend approval.
Very well. Thank you. Let's go and open up, please, Todd.
Sorry. Just a couple things I wanted to point out. These guys did provide me with a traffic study on a Sunday when all the analysis was done. Turn lanes on Clemens Road are not warranted, and that's mostly just because the volumes on Clemens are pretty low on a Sunday. And then, as John mentioned, they are providing a painted pedestrian access route to the building. They're required to provide a pedestrian access route. Our code does not specify what that needs to look like, so that is compliant. Now, there's grading requirements involved in that they are hitting. But, you know, they're good as far as pedestrian connectivity goes. And that's all I had.
John, you have something else you want to add?
I just want to add that now that I've heard Todd speak on it as well, it would be planning and zoning condition number 3 that needs to be omitted or struck.
Very well. Questions, comments from the commission?
I'll just kick it off real quick. I agree with staff on the, no to the metal siding. We need to get closer to the city standards of brick and masonry, maybe even 70-30. The Amazon building looked beautiful with metal siding when it was built, and it looks terrible right now. And upkeep on a building of this scale is not going to be insignificant if it's any kind of similar type of a product.
Let's go ahead and ask for representation to the project. Name and address for the record.
Jessica Gore, Paradesign, 145 Bear Crossing. I'm going to let the church rep talk about the metal siding in a moment. But I do want to point out there was a map, I believe, that John passed out to you that had the red and yellow on it, because I felt like that more accurately depicted what's going on out there on Clemens Road more clearly than just the site plan or the overall site plan for the church. As John indicated, this site has some considerable environmental restraints with some wetland that we had to dodge, and a stream crossing that pretty much bisects the entire property that we had to push the building pretty far back, which creates a beautiful setting. They've mass graded. It's really nice to look at when you're back there. It's very peaceful because there's trees all along the back on the adjacent properties. But however, if you look to the north, there's a concrete plant that has an industrial zoning that is to the side of the church that would have the metal building. They have recently cut down a lot of the trees back there, even some of the trees that were along the access easement that the church owns without permission, from what I understand. So the fact that there's no relief on the landscape buffering is a little bit concerning, considering one of the residential sides that we're being asked to buffer is the Mount Juliet Public Works facility, which has metal buildings, which all of you know, I love the Public Works Department. You guys, I'm very partial to them and what they do. So it's not a dig on Public Works, because there's a place for them and they need to have their equipment. And the church bought that property knowing they're there. They're happy they're there. But to require that buffer, which John's just following the code, and I understand that, it just seems like who's protecting whom from whom. And then we've got industrial all around us. There's a county residential piece that's landlocked in the middle that isn't likely to be developed residentially unless it comes in with a mixed use plan and a rezone. And then right against right against Clemens Road is the residential piece, which, again, looking across the street, there's self-storage, there's Husky Lumber. The church is really not the offender. But again, I understand their code. So if there's any way that we can work around that, it would be great. It does affect the site plan. I mean, the D buffer is 20 feet wide at a minimum, and it does require fencing. And we do not have 20 feet in between the property line and the parking that is proposed currently. So we were under the understanding up until 5 minutes ago that a waiver could possibly be granted. So do you want to talk about the elevations of the building at all? Yeah, I've covered
Mike
a lot.
Cole, New Tribe Church at 1279 North Mount Juliet Road. Jessica covered a lot of it. You guys have heard kind of what we're surrounded by. Even I've got documentation of a salt shed going up, which is going to be a metal building, right? That's going to be within eyesight of where we're building. And so what we feel like we're asking is not unreasonable. The front will be beautiful, but we are 750 linear feet off of Clemens Road. And we're butted up against a TVA easement in the back and on the side. And so again, it feels a little bit like we understand what the ordinance is or the code is as letter of the law, but the intent is to protect the visual from around but there's nobody around except for other metal buildings and a TVA easement. And so that's why we're asking for the variance on that. The front will be gorgeous, and we'll make sure it's any metal used on front will be architectural. It's going to be mostly what you guys have asked for, and we can definitely discuss more on that. But really would appreciate a variance. We're even next month we're gathering our people and putting in over 1,000 hours of service right here in our local community with our people. And so as a local church, we feel like we have a lot to offer. We love being here. We love our neighbors, and we're going to be good neighbors. But we do ask you just to consider the cost savings could be $500,000 for us on some of these variances, which could be put to better use for our cause. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Questions, comments from the commission? Commissioner Frank.
Can we vary it? Is it an ordinance?
Sam, please.
The planning commission just simply doesn't have the authority to grant the variance for the buffer. The Board of Zoning Appeals does, and the zoning administrator has the authority to give up to a 15% change to the plantings required.
So the Board of Zoning Appeals could?
But the PC cannot grant that.
Correct.
Very well. PC can grant the other variance requests, though.
Yes.
Very well. Good question. John, please.
I would just like to clarify that the buffer that you'll be required in this instance is a B buffer, not a D, and it's only along the residential boundaries.
Thank you, John.
Let me ask, I got a couple that jumped out to me a little bit outside. One is on, make sure I'm on the right sheet, your landscape plan sheet LP-1 is what is being shown on this landscape plan, what you are proposing? And does that meet without the variance, or is that with the variance granted?
That is with a variance. That does not include buffering.
But does not include buffering. So this is just what your general plantings. The other thing, I guess, out there, I was trying to, I agree, you are surrounded by a lot of metal right there, but as with everything, everything starts a starting point and a trigger for something. In this case, being 750 feet off the road, and being a church, which I always try to be a little bit more conscious of, makes me look at it a little bit, or I guess the willingness to grant it. But then one of the things that jumped out at me, which is rare because you're right, the front 750 feet off the road. However, the back is on what is going to be a pretty major thoroughfare for this city. And many, many, many years to come. Not that Clemens won't, but again, you're 750 feet off Clemens. You got some distance behind you as well before you get to Golden Bear. But my concern with the metal across the back, in this case, is probably greater than the metal across the front, oddly enough. Because if I'm reading your topo right, you are at the high point. And that means if somebody does mass grade, brings a proposal before this body, particularly because you do have a TVA easement, which is cleared, you open up a nice metal building right at the back of the property, whereas the other metal buildings are contained into that area in question. And then on top of that, we show zero landscaping across the rear of the building. So nothing at all, as I believe was just mentioned a minute ago as well, tree clearing and whatnot has begun adjacent, maybe behind as well. But my concern with all the metal is it's going to be pretty visual from a pretty major corridor with zero landscaping or nothing to, it's going to be beautiful with your proposed landscaping for the front. Not going to argue that the way it's laid out, but the back of it is, in this case, as much of a concern 5 years, 10 years, 30, 40 years down the road for me is the front, because it's going to be a monolithic metal building that everybody looks at.
So just like we're having to buffer on the residential, I mean, this is,
And if you've mass cleared, then you have nothing to preserve. So you've cleared them all.
no, he's saying there's still, but there's grading to the property.
I know. Yeah, you've got to grade that area, so you're going to most likely take them out. Especially with just looking at it and trying to think of how you would get in there and be able to preserve the remainder of whatever is left there. I'm uncertain of how you would do that to be able to accomplish this FFE and the grading plan as you've noted here.
What I would say is currently it's industrial. We don't know how long it's going to be like that. There've been no hurry, but we all know that Golden Bear's coming on strong. So,
I know.
I think we'd like to request a deferral to work with the architect.
What about that? Do you want any additional feedback or any concerns from the commission at this point?
If there's more feedback, we'll take it.
So let me poll the planning commission here, especially because of the church and not trying to deter you or anything else, but I think legitimate concerns. And then we need to, obviously, our city attorneys noted that we don't even have the ability to grant a landscape buffer. I think that we would have the ability to increase landscaping if it were to go forward across the rear of it. Would we have the ability to do that if were to be asked for? Just out of
Not
curiosity.
to enforce it, but I suppose if the applicant was willing to do it.
Very well. So let me, anyone else, any additional comments, feedback for the New Tribe Church to after the deferral? Any other concerns that might not have been shared?
I think the drawing looks nice. I think it's very nice. Building that they're trying to construct here, and at first I was concerned about the metal, and then I'm hearing all of the other structures around are metal, and I'm not sure if I follow you on what the back part of it is going to be facing, if that's a
Golden Bear.
TVA.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna be facing Golden Bear. So if it happens to be just houses that go there, their backyard will be looking at a monolithic metal building.
But if they have a buffer,
There is not gonna be a buffer when they grade it.
when they grade or something.
Well, if a mixed use group
Please,
comes
please,
in,
please, 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 please.
I will say in that argument with houses, most likely if it's a mixed use development that comes in with a rezone and a PUD, there are a lot of provisions that go in with that, as we all know,
Yeah.
for home building. There's, if it's, I know there's not multifamily right now, but if it was multifamily, there would be fencing, there would be buffering. You can't build within the TVA easement, which is very wide.
Yeah, and that's honestly probably one of my biggest is because it shoots right down the back and it's a forever clearing right at the back of the building.
So whoever develops that's going to have to get creative.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I guess the 400 feet wide, a third of which is covered by the TVA easement, doesn't seem to be as concerning to me. If the public works buildings that are being constructed aren't of concern. The concrete company that's on the property to the north isn't a concern. And I'm going to guess 2,500 feet off of Golden Bear or more.
Yeah.
So I
Also remember a time that Husky came in to build their additional lumber shed out there and we required them to go 3-side brick on something that's not going to do anything but have sticks underneath it.
That's right. Different mayor, different time.
But
A lot of waivers since
yeah.
then.
just because it was a visual is a visual point. And this is being a high elevation, is it going to be a visual point? It's someday. Just because of its elevation. And like I said, I'm more worried, I mean, crazy enough, I'm more worried about the back than I am the front. There'll be
And
some
again,
landscaping, push it up a
third
little
of
bit
the
maybe.
frontage, a third of the frontage.
Yeah.
And that easement just continues on. So, I mean, I guess I would like to know if everybody has that concern over the rear before we do defer or request deferral.
Please, Mr. George.
No, I want to see a masonry aspect on all sides personally. Doesn't have to be fully brick, but I'd like an aspect because if you do look at Husky Lumber, even the bottom third of theirs has brick on that side. If you look at Tri-State Moving, theirs is all brick. So I think each side needs to have a component of masonry. What we've seen in the past is we've seen a 60-40 or a 70-30, but we've never seen, I don't even know what these percentages are. I mean, it's basically all metal with, you got 20% on the front end. So yeah, I think masonry needs to be in an aspect as a whole. I don't mind looking at waivers and variances if it's a middle ground point, but this is so far to the opposite way for me.
Good feedback. Any additional feedback? Please, Commissioner Franklin.
Well, one thing, and I don't know, the county does this all the time. A trip to the Board of Zoning Appeals sometimes clears up a lot of questions, you know? And so I don't know that it wouldn't help us to go there first even, if that's available in the city. I'm not sure it is. It used to be, but if you can do that, you know, kind of a conditional.
Right, that's gonna be necessary to figure out if they will
For the
allow or
landscape?
not allow the buffer. Because if they force you to have the buffer, that's gonna completely change your parking and potentially your building setbacks.
Well, I think we could make it work with the building, but we definitely would have to work on our parking.
For me, the only member that is on the Board of Zoning Appeals isn't here tonight.
Yeah.
So I can't speak for them and have any idea. Are you on there? I'm sorry, I didn't know that. Well, congratulations. But I mean, for me, if it was my project, that would be kind of more important than our approval even tonight. I mean, because you still would know, you know, we can only do so much here.
We did go before BZA for the conditional use. At that time, the plans weren't far enough along to know that we should ask for the landscape waiver.
And I'll say, I personally
know,
don't have a
Sam.
problem with the variance that you've requested on that, but
So, and I do, we talked significantly with our client and the design team about the elevations and how in the latest years, there had been some changes in materials that were allowed. So we've talked extensively about it.
I just want to make note real quick. Anybody that's about to leave, please be careful. Our Nixle just went off with a severe thunderstorm warning and we are about to get rocked. So anybody that would happen to leave here in the next few minutes, please be mindful and please be careful. It's kind of ugly. Sorry.
It's okay.
It is.
It's your meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, dangerous one right now.
I got one.
Please, Commissioner Rast.
Not make it mandatory, not to make it mandatory, but there is no walkway or a central walkway in the parking lot to get to the church. If there was a way you could squeeze that in, I'd like it much more. Just consider it. Just a request.
Right.
I think there's a lot of land between that furthermost parking spot and a sidewalk or a safe place for people to walk. And I get it. It's, you know, Walmart doesn't have a sidewalk central either, but I get it.
I hear you, David.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Our youth group may go up and play at Ethan Page Park. Yeah, it's a cool park right across the street. I said the youth group could walk over to Ethan Page Park to have an event or play, or I mean, it's a great little accessibility to the park right there. And then you got the hopefully some of the people over in Linwood Station would join the congregation and
The
maybe
hope
walk,
for the
walk to church.
The hope for the church also was, the environmental impacts with the wetland and the stream and all that is to eventually have a very much a park-like setting for them. As everybody may not understand, they have chosen to do this project in steps because of the expense of it and fundraising for the church. And so they've gotten the mass grading, and we're trying to get their construction, get through site plan approval and get construction plans. And they may still have to do, parking, utilities up to a pad site and wait on their building. So that's why I just want you all to know, they're respectful of the codes, and I am respectful of the codes. I'm used to being on consent. I just want that to be noted. I like to be on consent with our project. However, for them, I understand why they're asking for waivers of the magnitude that they're asking. Again, they're just trying to get their project off the ground. They've been in Valley Center for a very long time. They've gone from one small section in Valley Center to multiple sections in Valley Center. They've been flooded several times. Just they've been really good to work with. I don't attend church there. I go elsewhere, but they're a great group of people and really wanting to be good community partners. So, if anybody else feels like they could support the metal siding, I would love to hear it. Would love to hear it because it would be a blessing to them. It would be a blessing.
I think I would have to encourage Commissioner Franklin too, to maybe what Commissioner Franklin shared and see what Boza has to say about
That's
being able
right.
to grant that landscape buffer, because it does change a little bit of the dynamic of whatever we approve up here, which if it vastly changes it, you'd probably have to come back here either which way. And then that way we all know what we're approving, what we're granting on the front end, and let's see where it could be taken. It reminds me a lot of, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but the layout of Connect Church, which is out off of Central Pike and 109. It's got kind of the
It's
same.
out there.
Yeah, it's kind of got the same kind of campus feel this project does, and to what they have out there at Connect. And I know churches are way more conscious of the maintaining the outside aesthetics to it. So yeah, I mean, let's see what Boza might say about that right
Let
there.
us,
And I like the idea of a deferral to
I
see
was going to
that.
say,
Yeah.
I would like to request a deferral so that we can take your feedback. We can meet with the team and see what they have to say about that. I think a trip to Boza is very likely.
Yeah.
So we'd like to request a deferral.
Very well. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. And please, if y'all leave, please be safe. Okay? It looks like if you stay here about 20 more minutes and enjoy this conversation and meeting, you may avoid at least the blunt of what's coming. I know Ms. Gore would like to stay. That is item 8B has been deferred per the request of the applicant. That was to review the site plan for New Tribe Church located 260 Clemens Road. The next item up on our agenda will be item 8C, which is review the site plan for a commercial strip center located 3007 North Mount Juliet Road. Ms. Jill?
This, as you stated, is at 3007 North Mount Juliet Road. It's a retail center site plan. It is just south of the Oak Hall subdivision, and it will sit directly adjacent to Camp Bow Wow and Grace Church, right in the middle. As a lot of people know, it's the crest of that hill coming up North Mount Juliet Road that has been up for sale for quite some time. It is currently zoned CTC, which is appropriate for the proposed use of a retail center. They are looking at putting in 9 suites with a mix of retail, restaurant, and professional services, both medical and non-medical, to be included. All of their setbacks have been correctly rendered. They are under 50% of the max building coverage. Their impervious and height are all within the limits as prescribed under the code. There's 88 parking spaces required. They're providing 92 that also include 5 ADA spaces. They are providing a 7-foot sidewalk along the frontage of the building. And they are also going to be widening the North Mount Juliet Road sidewalk portion from 5 foot to 6 foot. Their parking spaces and drive aisles are all adequate in size. The commercial design guidelines, they did not provide an elevation with percentages. However, as part of our conditions, we are requiring the 100% brick or stone because no waivers or variances were requested. We're also requiring the HVAC be fully screened with a parapet wall as standard practice. They have provided the photometric. Everything is in accordance with that. There is no fencing being proposed. Staff does recommend approval of the site plan as noted with the conditions included. I did want to add for the record, and I'll also pass it along to staff, the fire marshal has included some conditions that were not included on your staff report, so I just want to read those into the record if you don't mind. It says the site plan currently indicates fire apparatus access extending only to the rear of the building. It is preferred that the fire department access provides a continuous 360-degree drive around the entire building to allow for adequate emergency vehicle access to all sides of the structure, as the parking lot currently does not extend to a 360-degree. It cuts off at the rear of the building and does not extend around to the front on the southern portion of the building. The fire department connection shall be located no less than 100 feet from the nearest fire hydrant in accordance with all applicable fire codes. And he's also reiterating a comment we have of the combustible material shall not be stored or located within 3 feet of the building.
All right, trying to capture that.
And I do have those for record. I will give to staff the written.
Very well. John, you have something you want to add to that, please?
They didn't call out the materials on the building, but the elevation provided. And this is, straight zoning, so they have to, they'll have to comply with that.
Well, Shane, Public Works.
There are restaurants being proposed within this use, so each restaurant will have to have its own individual grease trap. And of note, on the utility and site design side, they will have to cross into the church's property to connect to sewer. To my knowledge, I do not believe that the easements have been obtained yet. So one of staff's conditions is that all easements that are necessary for the site shall be submitted to Public Works prior to the issuance of land disturbance permit. We'd like to see those along with the review of the sewer plans for the public sewer extension. Outside of that, we've got general comments, and I'll let Todd talk about traffic and roadway.
Please, Todd.
Yeah, based on the expected trip generation, this development does warrant a right turn lane into the site. We don't provide a lot of those on North Mount Juliet Road. So if y'all feel strongly about not including that, there's some precedent, but it is warranted. The big thing that's going to be a problem for them is obtaining their TDOT permit. If you look at page C203, and it's hard to make out with the figure as provided. The hill on North Mount Juliet Road blocks their site distance. Now, the development team is claiming that is due to a lack of survey on their part, and they turned to a publicly available elevation to provide the site distance figure as requested. They will go get additional survey, and it's in their opinion that will resolve that problem. But it's a survey error. Until that figure is provided, they will not get a TDOT permit, and that driveway will not go in that location. If they get the survey and it comes back and they still don't meet site distance, that driveway will have to be moved to the crest of the hill, which would move it to the north. And that's going to dramatically impact their loading to the point where I think they would need pretty significant site plan changes. So I would recommend approving with the condition that they are able to produce that site distance figure.
Wow. That's not good news. Let's go ahead and call for representation of this project, please. No representation for this project tonight. Is that correct? Wow. This project has concerns with me. May I defer this on behalf of the applicant? The board could vote. Or do we want to continue to press forward with action, or would we like to take a vote to defer this item? I personally,
Seems like it's half baked. Yeah. Currently.
my first comment was going to be why we're seeing something with so many planning and public works comments. First of all, it seemed like this, for a small in scale project, seemed like they had a lot of comments on this project. So that's exactly where I had planned to start this evening. I don't know whether or not it's most prudent to take action upon it based upon what I feel right now, or whether or not the best course of action would be to request a deferral, and the request for deferral is out of kindness.
Yeah, do we normally defer people's site plans? Don't
No.
they have a 30-day clock? If you don't take action, I know we can turn it down, but might be approving this thing without knowing it.
Yeah, I do not want that to happen.
Can we just table this one and I'll find the answer here?
That
and
would
then
be a
come back to it?
blessing. We are going to move, for the record, we're moving item 8C, which is read the site plan for commercial strip center located at 3007 North Mount Juliet Road, to the back of our agenda. That will be heard immediately after item 11C. Moving on. Next item up on our agenda falls underneath item 9A. And this is a recommendation item back to the Board of Commissioners, is to review the preliminary master development plan PUD, including a rezone from RS40 to RS20 PUD for the Keel subdivision located at 115 Oakmont Drive. Ms. Jill?
Thank you. You all have seen this project before a couple of times, actually, the last being in January when it was deferred. This is a subdivision with PMDP for 115 Oakmont Drive, approximately 10.32 acres, 15 lots with 2 open spaces. The density is 1.56 units per acre. The land use, there is no land use amendment required as the land use currently supports this subdivision. It is infill type subdivision, which is good to see. So we do not have as much sprawl throughout the community as we've been seeing as of late. There are no waivers previously, as noted, requested on any of the design guidelines. No elevations were provided, but if they are, they will have to be requested at FMDP. The amenities was a big holdup at the last meeting. That was one of the things that the commission encouraged the developer to go back to the drawing board and see what they could do. They now have provided 2 open and green spaces at 7.1% of the total project, with 7% being required. They now have included a playground and gazebo, along with the required mail kiosks through the post office. They are also going to be providing a low-maintenance decorative fence around the cemetery that shall be maintained by the HOA. We have required that it is not to be placed in open space and not on, or to be placed in open space, excuse me, and not on the lots. The waivers and variances that have been requested do reference back to a cul-de-sac in the substreet, so I will defer to Public Works to allow them to speak to those. Staff does recommend forwarding a positive recommendation on the rezone and PMDP to the Board of Commissioners with all of the conditions that we had previously included.
Okay, Public Works.
As I've mentioned before on this PMDP, did make a slight tweak in the sewer availability that, as this is a recommendation item, by the second reading or before, prior to the second reading of to the BOC, if it makes it that far, that they formally request sewer availability based on a chosen routing. I've been pretty consistent to have this development served by gravity sewer. That is the preferred route of the staff. If topography does restrict the site, we could consider grinders in play at that point, but I do want to push this development be served by gravity, just due to the fact that grinders, we have lifetime maintenance on that at the city, and if we can mitigate those costs anywhere we can, we want to push for that type of routing. So with this body, and then as it goes to the BOC, as a recommendation from those boards comes about, that will formulate our response to the sewer availability. I've also got a note in here to cover the development as floodplain does exist in the area, which is note number 10. So they're out of it right now, but if any lot revisions do occur, then they will have to abide by the floodplain ordinance. That's it for grading and utilities. I'll toss it over to Todd for roadways.
Please, Todd.
Yeah, as we've covered before, they're asking for some pretty standard variances, cul-de-sac length and number of units on a cul-de-sac, as well as stubbing a access street at their property line, and a variance to allow a permanent dead-end street within 150 feet of the property line. One thing I would love to mention is, as I was, I've been in communication with their engineer as he's trying to get this and address all comments, and we weren't super sure where the board stood on the temporary dead-end street. It seems like there was some discussion that didn't get completely resolved. And I believe that they were amenable one way or another, whether that was a stub road or not, but they were looking for some clarity there.
From us?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. What were we needing to clarify there?
Honestly, just do y'all want that to be a stub road or not, whether you support that variance, essentially?
Oh. Okay.
It came up a few times, but we never took action.
Very well. We'll make mention again real quick. So sorry to be up here and be a meteorologist and not a planning commission chairperson, but was just reading the nixle that came through. So we're replying to down trees, utility lines, and debris and roadways related to the storm. Use caution when traveling. Do not approach any down power lines or utilities. If you see a hazard blocking the roadway, please call and report it through our non-emergency line at 615-754-2550 should anyone encounter that. So I do know, crazy enough, a lot of people watch us at home. So please be mindful of that, and as well if you leave early from the meeting. Sorry. Questions, comments from the commission?
Is that a temporary end of the road, or are we talking about just a cul-de-sac that's where it ends?
Yeah, we're talking about the road that kind of veers south, heads towards Curd Road. Now that could be reconfigured as a permanent cul-de-sac. It would then fall under variance request D to allow it within 150 feet of the property line. Or it would be a temporary cul-de-sac with a potential connection to Curd should that one parcel redevelop.
Please, Commissioner Franklin.
Yeah, I mean, we want connectivity. I get it. And it's in the code, and every chance we get, we should do it. But the likelihood of it happening is probably low. There's one lot. It's
pretty big.
How big? 2 acres?
No, that RS-20 there, if you look at it on this map, that's a big lot. Probably about a 5.7 at least.
There's a building right there where they'd have to tear down a pretty large structure.
Doesn't look like it.
Well, where I'm seeing,
corner of the RS.
maybe I'm looking at it wrong. If it was going to be right here, you got RS-20. You think that's
Probably 5 acres. At least, be my guess.
with one house on it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, the probability of connectivity all of a sudden opens up with grandeur. I personally wouldn't like to see that be a cut through. I mean, I'd rather it be a permanent cul-de-sac than a connection to Curd Road right there, especially we've got commitments and I believe means in the ball rolling to get a stoplight at Curd Road, correct?
Yes.
And so I don't want to provide an outlet to bypass a stoplight that we're funding. I think we've had some other avenues of funding towards. I'd rather keep that traffic on Curd Road and get them to a stoplight than I would to create a bypass around something like that.
I guess my point was the cost of building a road from this cul-de-sac to Curd Road, even through that amount of property, after you demolish a house, you're going to be on the property line. Yeah, you might get a couple lots out of it. I'm from a monetary standpoint, I just can't see how anybody's going to make a profit doing it. Not much of one by the time you build roads at our expense. And plus you would, the sidewalks and so forth. But anyway, and then that would also create a cut through. So,
Yeah. Please talk.
Just to provide some clarity about why staff did request that be a temporary cul-de-sac. It's entirely to provide a resolution to the variance requests. So if you're comfortable with the variance requests, with the cul-de-sac exceeding length and unit count, and we do provide that a lot, then it does not need to be a through connection. We were just looking for a way to, in the future, no longer be against regulation.
You're doing your job.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it is. I just want to make it that is not a mission critical connection for anyone.
It's definitely a better pro. Third time we've seen it, I think. Definitely better. Third time may be the charm. I don't know. Do we have a representation for this project here tonight? Name and address for the record.
I'm Hayden DeBerry with L. Smith and Associates out of Paris, Tennessee. How are y'all doing tonight?
Be careful. We're going back to Paris.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm your local meteorologist up
Yeah,
there.
picked a good time.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Long drive. Questions, comments for us? I mean, you've done a lot of work, been here 3 different meetings coming up from Paris. Definitely appreciate and recognize that. And it looks like you've heard comments so far as what this body's given you in the past there. I mean, any feedback or thoughts from you guys on this?
Yeah, like Todd was saying, the road, really, that's just kind of whatever you guys see fit here. I mean, we did it at the recommendation, and really, if we brought that cul-de-sac back, it would allow some of our 2 lots to kind of wrap around that as well. But I also have had a couple residents there on Oakmont come talk to me after these meetings, and they have said that their one concern they had was just the getting onto to the main road coming out. So that might allow, if that were to be connected, of course, that no telling when that could be, but that's another option for the connectivity. But like I say, ultimately, we're fine either way with it. I mean, truly, like I say, it would give those two lots to be larger and those big expensive roads be a little shorter and so.
So what do you think if we were to grant you the variance for maximum length of the cul-de-sac? We said we wanted it to be a permanent cul-de-sac. Where are you going to move the cul-de-sac, the circular portion of your cul-de-sac to?
We would just keep it there and just shorten it along the same. The road would have the same bearing. It would just be shortened, and so that it would keep that right away from connecting all the way to the property line. We'd bring that back and allow the lots to wrap around that.
Okay.
Essentially keeping the same dimensions of everything, just shortening that roadway.
Just bring it off of the property line
That's
itself.
right. Yes, sir.
Probably make lot 202 and 203 a little bit more attractive at that point too.
Yes, sir.
My only other comment that I have outside of that is, I just want to make sure that the comment is included. I know that tree line, to your eastern boundary of Oak Hall there is very, very important.
Yes, sir.
Would like to say, I know it's only a 10-foot buffer. Doesn't look like you need to be in that at all. I'd like to encourage 10 foot or greater as a tree preservation back there. One, it will probably help you to sell the house. Two, none of your masquerading or anything even takes you near it.
Yeah.
But three, to make sure that erosion control measures don't go into any of the buffers, as noted here. And that further helps you to protect it when your contractors or developers get out there, because the first thing is going to be your erosion control measures, and it kind of sets a fence to tell them to keep out of it.
That's right. You'd like to see that at about 15 foot or so, or is that what you're saying? Or?
Any tree that you can preserve, especially in a backyard of something like this, it's going to abut probably smaller houses than what you're going to build here. That provides that buffer. From a aesthetic standpoint, it really benefits both. Benefits your potential developer and seller.
Yeah.
And it certainly benefits those that are established directly to the east of this over there, and maintain that there, because every night they are looking at nice little trees. And if you clear to the tree line or just 10 feet, I mean,
Right.
you're pretty much removing it if you go to 10 feet. So just kind of giving you a feel. And
Okay.
Mount Juliet's a lot like Paris in that they like their trees.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So,
Commissioner Rass?
Just one last comment, and it's just a comment. It's nothing you need to do. But lot 210, that was one of the lots that we had previously talked about, it just being incredibly small. There'll probably be a tall and skinny on that lot, but it's your development. So God bless you to get a home built on it. But that's a tiny lot.
yes, sir.
I mean, just the building pad itself is, there's not much room for home there.
Further questions, comments from the commission? Thank you. Let's go ahead and ask for citizen comments in regards to this item on the agenda. Any citizens wish to make comment are welcome and encouraged to do so. Please come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record.
Douglas Robert Wise. I live at 118 Oakmont Drive. And I'd like to propose that this development be renamed from Kill Subdivision to Oak Swamp Estates, because that's what we've got back there right now. I understand that most of the lots are out of the floodplain proper, but all it takes is a rain like this, and most of those yards, they're not going to be underwater except maybe once every 100 years, literally. But every year there's going to be a mud pile back there. I would like to see, fewer lots so that you get more of the house out of the mud. Other than that, the main problem with this development goes back to the land use plan. Once upon a time, somebody just drew a line down Mount Juliet Road and said every house to the left, all development to the west is going to be low density, and all development to the east is going to be medium density. Except that we are basically RS40, and when the property sold as RS40, I thought, okay, fine, we're going to have new neighbors that match our subdivision.
Other than that, I would like to add, I think it was about 2 meetings ago, Commissioner Rast asked Mr. Shane here a very direct question pertaining to sewer. And I'm not sure that he got a real direct answer. But if I remember correctly, you asked him, are you going to hold this development to gravity sewer? And Mr. Shane this evening kind of confirmed that the city was determined to do that. If this is recommended to the Board of Commissioners, I'd like to have that as a condition put in there, if you please, because this will, this take a big load off the city. And if that can be done, I think it would be much to everybody's benefit. And the other thing is just, could the city put a no left turn sign at the end of Oakmont? Because it's almost impossible at certain times of the day to turn left turn anyway. Now you're going to add, 16 more houses or so, 32 more cars. But of course, I guess our no traffic study said there's no traffic impact. But, at RS-40 would solve so many problems. You wouldn't have nearly the traffic wouldn't be exacerbated unnecessarily. You'd be abiding by the existing cul-de-sac rules or guidelines, and it'd be compatible with what's already there. It would be a win-win, especially if we can welcome the new neighbors to what we have. That's all I'm asking. That and the sewer particularly, if you don't mind. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Samantha Jackson. I'm at 106 Oakmont. The floodplain is a really big deal. We see, my husband has videos of just a raging river. Something like this, it's going to be for 3 days. It's just going to be there. It's going to sit there. It is a really big deal. And I would hate for someone to buy a house and realize they can't use their backyard more times than not. So that is something to consider. I am really concerned about the traffic going on to Mount Juliet Road. Adding those extra cars, I mean, today it took me 7 minutes to turn left onto Mount Juliet Road to get here. If we're adding cars backed up, I'm just really afraid people are going to use that middle lane more than they do, and there's going to be more traffic or more accidents. I agree. Fewer houses, fewer cars. I bought this property. I love it. I bought it because of the large lots, and having lots come in at the end that are teeny tiny and tall and skinny. Like that's not what I bought. And it just kind of bums me out a little bit. And so I think keeping with our street, which is the direct connector, not Oak Hall, not behind, it would be really nice if that was a consideration to kind of keep the current tenants like a similar vibe, basically. So thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Rhonda Pritchett, and I live at 113 Oakmont. My property is right next door to the property they are wanting to develop. One of my concerns is the traffic. If they do not have a direct cul-de-sac and Curd Road comes through there, that will allow more traffic on the road, and it's going to make it harder for us to even get out of our driveways and to the main road. Also, the rain water is a big issue. Water is in the back of my yard and stays there for a while. Even when it's been dry, you can go back there and there's still water. So I just want to present that to you guys so that you know, how much water does come through there and flows downhill. The veterinary clinic, everything back down there, it goes downhill. So water naturally is going to go there. So just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. Any additional citizen comments this time? See no additional citizen comments. I'm looking for a recommendation in regards to this item on our agenda.
Got a lot of conditions.
I'm working on one.
Very well.
I think I'm ready.
Please, you have the floor.
Motion. Motion for a positive recommendation with, I guess it's condition or waiver allowing a permanent cul-de-sac. Also condition to provide for gravity sewer. I guess what would it be for the next?
Service by gravity only.
Service by gravity only, prior to FMDP. Yeah, I think that's it. So motion.
Got a motion for a positive recommendation with those conditions that lie within. It's a motion and a second.
If that lot you were talking about, the PTM,
Yeah.
does it meet the regulations for it does meet the regulations for the size?
7,500 square feet, and they've got over 11,000 on that lot. So, another thing is if you notice that access to the cemetery, they got that easement, and it's shown drawn on top of that lot. I have a condition in there that they remove that easement off, get it off those lots, and put it in open space. So that lot is going to actually get smaller when they address that. It may not end up being buildable, but it is 11,000 square feet right now. We got lots a lot smaller than that in the city.
11,000 is basically a quarter acre.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a motion and a second for a positive recommendation. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. Against? Abstentions? That was 4, 5. That is a positive recommendation. Next item up on our agenda is also a recommendation item back to the Board of Commissioners. It is to review the land use plan amendment from thoroughfare commercial to light industrial for lockbox self-storage off Lebanon Road directly east of 12337 Lebanon Road. Mr. John.
I'll keep it to just the land use since we're on that. Lockbox storage, north side of town, to the east of Needham's Nursery. There's an existing lockbox facility up there. This request is for a land use amendment directly to the east, on the parcel to the east of the existing facility up there. The land use plan calls for thoroughfare commercial. This request is lockbox storage is self-storage. Self-storage is permitted in industrially zoned districts only. So they have to request this land use from thoroughfare commercial to business development impact, which is our industrial land use, for this use to be permitted on this piece of property. Just for information's sakes, if you remember a couple of years ago, we had a U-Haul down the road, west down Lebanon Road, who desired to do the same thing at a land use amendment to industrial on their adjacent vacant property and build another storage facility. That one was denied. And this request is essentially very similar. Same road, same request, same use. There is no industrial land use in this vicinity. There is no industrially zoned land in this facility. The existing facility existed before these changes to the code were made. So that's the reason for the request for a expansion of the self-storage use at this location. The existing facility has been there for a long time. The current conditions on the lot that they are seeking this land use amendment includes it's back up off the road, but right now they've got vehicles and RVs and stuff parked outside. It's a storage situation occurring in open air out there now. This request will allow them to, if approved, would allow them to construct structures so that all the storage will be within buildings. This request is only for the portion of the property, the northern portion of the property where they propose development. The land use along Lebanon Road is thoroughfare commercial, and that's going to stay the same. They're going to keep the front part of the lot commercial, and then they're requesting for the land use for the back, I don't know, half. It's whatever it may be. Basically, there's a tree line that runs through the property. If you drive out there now and look at it, this development that they propose is going to be behind that tree line that's existing out there. The front part of it, they're leaving undeveloped, and it will remain commercial. So I bring up the U-Haul because there is precedent on this, on decisions very similar to this, and I just would like you aware of it. Staff cannot recommend approval because the land use plan does not support it, the request as presented here. And did I leave anything out? I don't think so. There's your little summary on that and my recommendation.
Thank you. Since this is land use plan only, any public works comments?
No, sir.
Everyone? Questions, comments from the commission? Please.
I will say it is a little bit different than U-Haul in that they're not wanting to change along frontage of Lebanon Road. I would potentially foresee that coming in as a subsequent request in the future, probably. I think it would have the same result as U-Haul did. Being off Lebanon Road, it doesn't quite match anything around it, but it is different. A little bit from what I think it's different from what we did up what U-Haul is requesting.
Yeah, the zoning and the land use request is identical, and the use requested is identical. So, from a functional point,
I think on top of that too, what U-Haul was trying to do was a empty lot that wasn't used, and this is currently used for storage. So I think to Commissioner Rath's point it is different a little bit. I mean, I think the request on paper might be the same, but it's a different situation when you look at road frontage, what the current use is versus U-Haul was an empty lot on Mount Juliet Road, or on Lebanon Road, excuse me. And this is kind of backed off.
U-Haul parked their trucks on that lot as well. Yeah. It wasn't empty all the time.
Just trying to put my arms around how different it is.
Further questions, comments? Let's go ahead and call for citizen comments in regards to this item on the agenda. Anyone wishing to make comments, welcome and encouraged to do so. Please come to the microphone, name and address for the record.
My name is Darren Rains. I'm the owner of Lockbox Self Storage at 12337 Lebanon Road. I think my understanding with the U-Haul place is they bought that property later. We developed the site in 1996, maybe 97 we opened.
We've always used it for that. We've always had self-storage on the east side of the property. We've always, even before the codes changed and they changed it to industrial, we were doing storage there before that, open RV storage. We've always had the inclination that we would build buildings there at some point in time, but we've never really changed use of it. It's a different type of storage, but it's still under the umbrella of self-storage. And the tree line that's there buffers quite a bit, and the property that we'll never develop self-storage out front. And I'd be willing to put a carve out for that because I just would never do that. I'm not sure I'd ever build anything there just because I don't want to look like on an alley. And maybe some of the neighborhood there gets cleaned up. I would consider commercial, but definitely wouldn't mind putting something there saying self-storage would never be placed there. Back in the back, the buildings be 200 or 300 foot back and a thick tree buffer. And, you know, the self-storage buildings, although one of the commissioners came up a year or so ago and I said, just drive up there and take a look at it. I'll tell the manager to let you in. I found our site very nice, very neat and orderly without knowing they were coming. So we keep our site nice, but with that being said, I can't help but think that buildings would look even better. And we've got privacy fence around it. You can't virtually even see it from the road. But to us, we're not changing use. We're just putting buildings up, which is a different type of storage. Everything else is existing that is there. You know, the office there, the driveway's there. Been there for a long, long time.
Is that the building out in front for RV storage?
I'm not sure which building. That may be Needham's.
Building 7?
Oh, the one toward the front?
Yes.
Let me see here. No, that will be a climate control building.
Oh.
Yeah, there won't
And
be
you
any
did
open
say that, I
RV
read
storage.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Climate control RVs.
Please.
And the buildings, I don't think you'd even be able to see them from the road. The tree line there is pretty thick. We left that on purpose as a
Right.
buffer.
Commissioner George.
Yeah, question for staff. So we're just talking about the rezone for the 4.1 acres. That front part is not changing zoning. So that would stay intact. So in the future, let's hypothetically say they wanted to put self-storage, they would have to come back and do another lane use. Okay. Thank
I'd be
you.
willing to put something in there now. We have no intentions of putting self-storage out there. If I would, highest and best use would be self-storage on that kind of commercial property. But it would have to be something that was really nice. And wouldn't make us look like we're on an alley back in the back.
One comment I got is I was able to speak with Commissioner Giles, which this lies within his district. And I asked his thoughts on any projects that we would have on our agenda going forward. Commissioner Giles did indicate that he did not support this project.
He said he would not.
That is correct.
I'm not spoken with him directly. I don't know.
Storage now. Just look. That it looks neater. It may look neater.
It's also an industrial zoning. That if the tornado wipes that area out like it has before, they have industrial zoning right there.
We'd be willing to put a carve out that it could never be used for.
And you're asking for
manufacturing.
3 stories instead of making it 1 story, which is even harmonious with what you got. And that's right in our face.
We have 2 stories there now.
So we can keep going with those right there.
Well, if you think 2-story would be better, we could look at that. We
Maybe
already
1
have 2
story would be
stories.
harmonious with the property adjacent to it.
No, we have 2 stories there. It's all one property, but we have 2 stories on the west side of the property now. We're not asking to change use. The use changed on us. We've had storage there before they changed the zoning.
Commissioner, I
Please.
just wanted to note the current property that he's speaking to is zoned commercial general, and vehicular storage and parking is allowed in the commercial. That's why it's allowed there currently. It's not listed as storage per se.
Commissioner Franklin?
You keep saying it's the same property, but on the maps that I get, it's a separate it's a separate property. So it's not in a continuation of a non-conforming use.
Well, when we put that building up there by the office down in the front, we had said there are two pieces of property, but we'd have storage on the side. They said, no, we see it as one business and one type of business and one property because it's contiguous and it's used for the same thing. And when they approved that last building right down there at the front, they actually signed it on the right-hand side for the whole property. And they made us bring the right-hand side up to codes at that time. So they saw it at that point in time as one contiguous property, one contiguous business, and even made us put in trees and landscaping and everything. So to come back now and say it's not, to me, is inconsistent. It was actually signed on the right-hand side when they approved it for the left-hand side.
I would be more apt to approve it if you went to a two-story structure that was lower than that tree line, right? If you're saying now currently we can't see the cars there, and I drive by it all the time, and I probably never knew that there were cars parked back there.
And 2 stories, this was a preliminary thing, 2 stories would be fine with me. That looking at the cost of the 3-story now is really significantly different than a 3-story.
So in regards to the land use plan, any additional questions, comments? Seeing none, thank you. Any additional citizen comments at this time? Seeing no additional citizen comments at this time, looking for a recommendation in regards to this item on our agenda.
I'm going to make a motion for a recommendation to approve with the change being from 3 stories to 2.
It would only be, this is only land use plan
Oh,
only.
land use plan.
Yep. So it'd be either a positive or negative recommendation to the land use plan.
Positive recommendation for that.
It's a motion for a positive recommendation. It's a motion and a second. May I make a suggestion or amendment to that? That I believe I can do this, that should the land use plan or should the preliminary master development plan that follows fail, that the land use amendment goes back to what it currently is. We may do that, correct? Very well. Would that be acceptable amendment to your
Yes.
recommendation on your second? It's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. Against? Abstentions? That is a positive recommendation. The next item up on the agenda is also a recommendation item back to the Board of Commissioners is to review the preliminary master development plan PUD with the rezone from CG to IR PUD for lockbox self-storage located off Lebanon Road directly east of 12337 Lebanon Road. Okay.
7 new buildings here they propose. Like you said, there's one of them 3 stories. That's the one furthest south front of the property. I got to say, they did a pretty good job with the appearance of these. They are asking for waivers on some of the, some of our design standards. And actually, staff can support them for the use here. I think they look pretty good. They really worked hard on making that, trying to address that part of the code as well as possible. The other waiver, another waiver that they're asking for is, since this is industrial and they've got residential zoning to the north, you're supposed to have 100 feet of buffer in between the industrial use and the residential. They've got about 20 feet there with drive aisles in it. It's undeveloped up there. I think there might be a house, maybe one house up there right now, but it's a large, mostly undeveloped piece of parcel up there. I have in here, given that this is a storage unit, it's not exactly the most intense industrial use. I have that we would support a 20-foot buffer. They'd have to remove their drive aisles out of there to achieve that. So they're gonna have to wiggle some stuff around there to make that work, and with a privacy fence. I mean, we're talking headlights here, probably at the worst. So elevation waivers, as shown on the plans. The rear buffer, which is supposed to be 100 feet in this instance. Third waiver, this use actually requires 20 parking spaces. Jill, do you remember how many they showed on there? Did they show any on there? I don't even know if they even showed any. So 20 seems a little excessive. However, we got to have some parking shown on this plan. So I could support that if they showed us some alternative, showed us what they are going to provide. It is a storage unit type development. I think people are going to pull in front of the unit most of the time, and the traffic or the activity in there probably isn't going to be that heavy to require a ton of parking spaces. But again, that's a waiver that's up to the board to decide. Most of our conditions here are just standard conditions on a site plan or on a PMDP at this point. Again, they'll have to submit a site plan if this all gets approved, and any of these waivers that they're asking for that aren't granted, they'll be held to provide that at site plan. We have a couple things in here. Let's see if there's anything else notable. There really isn't that much. It's just those waivers, I guess, are the biggest points to talk about here as far as planning goes. I really didn't think of the land use. So I'm sorry, I'm a little blindsided here talking about this facility itself, but if you got any questions, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. Shane, Public Works?
We'll let Todd talk about this one, sir.
Very well. Todd, please.
Honestly, I don't got much to say. Self-storage is just about the least intensive land use from a traffic perspective you can get. Honestly, my big concern is just looking ahead. If they ever develop that out parcel, it does not get access from Lebanon Road.
Is there
They've already shown the sidewalk on their PUD. They revised that between Tech Review and resubmittal. So they're agreeable.
Okay. Yeah, if it's not an issue, it's not an issue.
Our understanding is that the county and the city.
Name and address for the record real quick.
Darren Rains, Lock Self Storage, 12337 Lebanon Road. It's our understanding that they're working on putting a sidewalk through there through some sort of funding. And the area that's up there on top right now, when the county came through and widened that road, they took a lot of our property in the front there. And that piece on the top, I've mowed it many times in the past, and it's probably couldn't be much more than 3 foot, maybe 4. So that was a concern. We don't mind necessarily putting a sidewalk there, but just want to make sure we didn't get twisted sideways with what else was going on.
Shane?
Please. I can answer that question. There is a project that I believe is commencing this summer through Public Works to extend sidewalks from Nonneville to North Green Hill. So depending on the timing of the project, by the time they start, sidewalk could very well be out in front. But as we talked about with Texas Roadhouse per code, that request, if they want it waived, we cannot support.
So staff wants the sidewalks to be built. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Further questions, comments from the commission?
So is that sidewalk business is Public Works later on in the future, projected future, is that going to line up with whatever may be required of this particular situation if he builds sidewalks?
Yeah, we just revise the design and tie in the capital project to connect through here. Saves us a little bit of money.
I'm just saying, you build, we require a sidewalk and then they come in and do something else to build another section in a different manner or a different way. I don't know.
It's a relatively steep grade there as well. If somebody would go off with a bicycle or something, or the way the county finished that off there, probably maybe 20 foot, you know.
I mean, I'm okay with the requirement as long as we look in the future and, you know, we were not tearing stuff down that we required somebody to build.
Yeah, it's realistically, it's going to match the curbs along the rest of Lebanon Road. It's going to be right up against the curb. And when the city project comes through, essentially this section would just already be built and we tie into it.
We approve this, would you be amenable to making that bigger building a 20-foot two-story structure versus a 30-foot three-story structure?
Yeah,
Put a condition on that.
Yeah, 2-story. Yeah, I don't have a problem. These were preliminary, trying to give you guys something to look at because they kind of want to get an idea where we're trying to go with it, you know.
Understood. We just have to be careful because if we allow a 30-foot, you can build a 30-foot.
No,
So,
I
yeah.
don't mind. Like I said, putting something in there to that degree doesn't bother me at all. But we got to looking at the cost of a 3-story versus a 2-story. It's a lot of difference.
I don't see, I guess this would be back for John. Doesn't look like this requires a photometric plan. So is there lighting, internal lighting, or how is lighting within this site accomplished?
At the PMDP, we don't require it, but at site plan, they'll have to show it then. I'm not sure what they proposed at this point.
Do we need to include no wall packs?
Could include that. And now that we've opened it up, I would also like to add the condition, if you are amenable to it, that the only use, since you remember how we were talking about it's industrial zoning in perpetuity. I don't know if that's a good idea, but maybe just cap the use at, can you do that at self-storage there?
We do that same?
I got another one I'd like to add too, because if you go out there now, there's probably a U-Haul truck sitting on the frontage of that property. The other day when I was putting or a Penske truck or something, the other day when we were putting signs out there was one out there. I'd like to add a condition that they not be allowed to park any vehicles along the drive towards Lebanon Road. It functionally acts like advertisement. That's what U-Haul was doing as well. And it's a sign essentially. And so I'd like to add a condition that prohibited. Since this is a PMDP, it's be the time to do it.
Actually, I spoke with my manager about that tonight when I came in because you guys mentioned it before. So it wasn't supposed to be done.
And one more here. You want to make sure I understand this. The Plans indicated a 20-foot rear setback with drive aisles within. Staff supports this. So is that just the drive aisle within the setback or the building itself?
No, I think if you remove, if they could pull the drive aisle out of there and put a real landscape buffer in there, that would be the way I'd support it. Landscape buffer with a privacy fence. So like a 20-foot wide section with a privacy fence. That would be my compromise. You got the fence, you got the landscaping. And the requirement in this instance for the buffer, the 100-foot buffer I spoke about, it's not that buffer. I guess buffer is an improper term. It's a free and clear space. It just has to be nothing. It's written to be nothing in that 100-foot section. It's a separation requirement since, you know, industrial could have noises, smells, things like that. It's just, it doesn't necessarily require plants. It's just, you got to have 100 feet separation. So, yeah.
So does that cover us in your recommendation? Should we recommend your staff comments, or is that specificity
Yeah,
lie within
I
there?
believe it's specifically spelled out in there. Let me read it. Plans indicate standard 20-foot rear setback, which is their industrial rear setback with drive aisles within, which is permissible. But because they're not doing the 100-foot free and clear space, I would say staff supports this request to omit the 100-foot free and clear space. If the drive aisles are removed from that 20-foot area back there and they plant it with buffer and put in a fence. And I'm really, it sounds like a lot, but I don't know. I don't think a self-storage use is like as intense as what that 100-foot free and clear space is intended for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a privacy fence there now. And the back part of the property, or the north side, I guess, is pretty much just a cliff.
Yeah, and what I'm asking is that you have a fence there. We'd ask for an opaque, low maintenance fence and then 20 feet of, or 20-foot width of vegetation. We got buffer sections in our code. It's very common, you know, and I'd fit it in that 20-foot. You'd have to move the drive aisle out of it to do that. But I guess that's the extreme compromise I think I could stand behind in this instance.
So if I'm not mistaken, to accomplish that, building one will go away.
Perhaps.
Well,
There's
that's
gotta be something there.
with those properties on the east side down there. Those are commercial. Those are
Yeah.
We're talking about the undeveloped property to the
Well,
north.
Yeah, you only needed that buffer on the north side.
Okay.
Because the other zoning, it's
on
not
the
residential.
east side. Yeah.
Yeah, the east side's commercial use, but the north side runs all the potential to be a residential use and currently zoned residential.
Yeah, and there's trees on the other side now. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but
I
just
guess
no
it's farmland.
Yeah,
or
no
whatever.
trees on yours.
Okay.
So nothing that you can maintain. So it would need an updated fence and new plantings.
Yeah, it steps up right there, right at the edge of the property significantly. So we couldn't put a fence on their property. I don't know how we'd do that. Maybe try to put some trees or something there, but it's all rock. But I don't know. We'll figure something out.
Alternative is 100-foot.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean that still wouldn't solve the visibility part of it. So, but yeah, we'll work with you anyway.
Everyone, further questions, comments? Thank you. This time, let's call for citizen comments. Anyone wishing to make comment, welcome, encouraged to do so. Please come to the microphone, name and address for the record. Seeing no citizen comments this time, looking for a recommendation in regards to this item on our agenda. There's a ton there.
I'll take a stab at it. Motion for a positive recommendation. I think we're still looking at capping the use at self-storage. no vehicles along the drive or on Lebanon Road. 20-foot buffer. The drive's clear from the 20-foot buffer. It's a buffer and a fence. Privacy fence as mentioned. The only one I'm having trouble putting together is the parking spaces. We're basically saying less than 20 is excessive, but appropriate. I guess at site plan we'll figure that
Yes,
out.
this
Okay.
is PMDP. At site plan, we're gonna have to cross that bridge, and when
Okay.
it'll come before the commission, and you guys have the authority to say yay or nay on how much parking.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of an unusual use when it comes to parking, but we got another pass at it with site plan. That's when they're gonna have to show the parking and how many they got, and we'll see how it lays out and see how it works.
Okay, and I guess, was it building 7 is limited to 2 stories only? I'll
No.
leave it there and open for amendment.
No wall pack lighting.
Anything else I missed?
Sidewalks to be built.
Sidewalks built on Lebanon Road.
And you got them all.
That it, so amended. Motion made.
It's a motion. I'll second that. It's a motion and a second for a positive recommendation. Subject staff comments, subject to the additional comments stated by Commissioner Rast. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. Against? Abstentions? Is a positive recommendation. Next item up on our agenda is also a recommendation item back to the Board of Commissioners to review the out-of-city sewer request for 445, 447, and 449 Liberty Chapel Road.
The applicant is requesting to construct 18 single-family units on about 49 acres on property off of Liberty Chapel Road, which is off of Bender's Ferry. The sewer wastewater flows would be directed through the Yorkshire Estates development, which ultimately drains to the Paradise Pump Station, down to Wintry Pines, and down Donaval, ultimately into the Stoner Creek Interceptor. So capacity is available for this site. Only 447 Liberty Chapel Road is contiguous with the city limits, and if this body and the governing body, the BOC, choose to provide a positive recommendation and or approval, we wish to be conditioned with such in my report. If y'all got any questions, I believe the developer is here. Just to note that the property owner that's organizing this development also, I believe he either owns or he's involved with Yorkshire Estates. So the main condition is that he is part of the ownership group or the development group that is constructing the sewer infrastructure in Yorkshire, which this development would pass through.
Questions, comments from the commission? Please, Commissioner Franklin.
Generally speaking, you know, a few years ago, the city is restricted from annexing by ordinance. You can only annex by permission. Somebody's got to ask to be in the city now, right? And it would seem to me that this is the last way the city can expand. And I don't know if the city, you know, wants to expand. If that's a goal of the city, is that, I mean, I just kind of don't know. And then I also don't know, is Yorkshire Estates in the city?
Yes, sir, it is.
Is because if we serve all of these developments outside the city, once they develop in the county, you know, probably never want to be annexed. Just a question. Is the policy of the city to grow, or to stay the same, shrink?
Great question. Great question. Further questions, comments from the commission? Let's go ahead and call for representation to the project. And microphone, name and address for the record.
Evening, Jake Porter, Heritage Civil, 2055 North Mount Juliet Road. So just to add as much as an answer as I can provide to that, in the past, it's seemed like, and I do not want to by any means necessary put any words in the mayor's mouth, but typically we've been seeing, unless there's a real reason to annex something, that it's been kind of, we think the preference to not annex it so it doesn't cost the city anymore. But again, that's totally my opinion of what's kind of happening being in development in the city. So just the overview, Mr. Van Clive here is the owner of the property of Yorkshire Estates, which is the southwest of this little development. They are doing, I have to give the dollar amount, but the amount of sewer they're putting in for Yorkshire Estates also required a pump station for Yorkshire Estates, which pumps across the creek there, goes into the Paradise Pump Station, which are also providing upgraded pumps in that and upgraded system to that to increase the flow over there. So there's a little bit extra flow with doing that and doing the design and the new pumps and infrastructure upgrades. So the leftover, Mr. Van Clive currently lives on this property, and him and his neighbor are just trying to see if it's possible to subdivide theirs into, and I'll put air quotes on development. Development's an overarching word here. They will be, it says 2+ acre lots on the application, but it's a 54 acre tract, combined tract. The total that we're asking for is 18 lots. So there'll be 3 acres, but there'll be some, I mean, just depending on how it lays out, it'd be 2 here, 4 there, 5, 1, whatever it winds up being. I believe, Shane, that we talked about, it'll be a public sewer that would tag into a public force main that would tag into the Yorkshire Estates plan. But yeah, the goal is to not doing small, dense development. It's attempted to be a 3 acre plus development, more of a rural feel, more of a spacious feel, not necessarily getting into the weeds in lots of tight spaces. So there's no intention at this point, and I'll be back here to say this, but there's no intention to connect to Yorkshire Estates. It's not what we're not wanting to go that direction. It'll be a Liberty Chapel, potentially Bender's Ferry connection if there's enough room over there, but probably Liberty Chapel and go down towards Bender's. Again, just add on to the annexation versus not. The closest, I think, city portion of this be a public right of way is about 8/10 of a mile away. The closest sewer is over a mile away. So going back through Yorkshire is the only way to get this. We've tried to go through, we have, again, Mr. Van Clive living there has, I think his house and his neighbor's house have the 2 only decent enough septic areas for their houses. And I think they scrape by with that. So we've kind of exhausted that route of potentially doing septic for each one. Again, he's here. If you have any questions pertaining to the land itself, but as an engineer, if you have any questions that way, just let me know.
What do they, Jill or John, with out of sewer taps or out of city sewer taps out there, they pay an additional monthly, or Shane, they pay an additional monthly fee due to that forever, right?
I'll read from our report. The developer property owner will pay all regular charges and a surcharge of 100% for additional for all city fees, meeting ordinance 2019-36, since the property is not within the city limits. And further, the owner understands and agrees to pay the tap and capacity fees required for connection to the city system. 100% upcharge on all of it, including the bill.
Yeah. So you get the money without the burden, or without the annexation plan of services. Further questions, comments? Thank you. Let's go ahead and call for citizen comments. Any citizens remaining here around are welcome to make comment. See no citizen comments. I'm looking for a recommendation in regards to this item on our agenda.
Make a motion for a positive recommendation.
It's a motion.
Second.
A second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. Against? Abstentions? There's a positive recommendation. Excuse me. Next item up on the agenda is item 10B, is to review the out-of-city sewer request for 3150 Nottaville Road.
We've had out of sewer city requests on this property before, so this report will be the same this time. The owner, property developer would like to request 4 single-family residences connection to the city sewer system. There's a force main that runs along the frontage of this property, high pressure, so we would not, staff would recommend that there's not a direct tap serving homes off the high pressure force main, that a smaller force main runs a tributary that then serves the 4 houses. We would request that smaller diameter force main line serving those homes would be private, but the individual grinders would be private at the expense of the property owner and maintained by the property owner in perpetuity. So with our recommendations, if you do choose to provide a positive recommendation, I would just ask that the final plat for this lot, these lots show that a 20-foot easement is with, that the smaller tributary line, the force main is within a 20-foot sewer easement. I know it's a 5-acre lot. We wouldn't see the plat generally because of the lot size, but hopefully deferring to my planning friends, maybe we could see that as part of the connections as they come in for sewer service. And the same things would apply of the surcharges for being out of city sewer.
Questions, comments from the commission? See no questions, comments at this time. Call for citizen comments. See no citizen comments this time. I'm looking for a recommendation in regards to this item on our agenda.
Make a positive recommendation with staff comments.
It's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising their hand. Aye. Against? Abstentions? It's a positive recommendation. With any objection to go ahead and hear in 8C prior to these final items? Any objection by the commission? Let's go ahead and table item 8C. Item 8C is to review the site plan for commercial strip center located at 3007 North Mount Juliet Road. Sam, I think we are looking for an opinion from you at this point.
Yes, to answer your question. Sometimes we can defer it. It's 30 days from today. Unfortunately, there's 5 weeks till the next meeting. So that puts us at,
Automatic approval.
well, you can deny it if you'd like.
Yeah, but if we were to defer, it would constitute an automatic approval.
I'm just saying you can't defer it. You have
Very
to
well.
make a decision.
One of the reasons we didn't like to ever do that was just a couple of months ago, we did have 4.
Yep.
For these 63 days before we get back, we have to call a special meeting just because of what happened.
No, good, great point. That being said, I know that we've heard staff comments in regards to this project. Any further questions, comments from the commission? This time we'll call for citizen comments in regards to this project on our agenda. Seeing no citizens remaining in the room.
Citizen?
Yeah, okay.
Citizen?
This time, seeing no citizen comments, I'd like to ask for a motion in regards to this item on our agenda.
Make a motion for denial. Applicant's not here. Do we have anything next time?
Very well. It's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raising your hand. Aye. Against? Abstentions? Denied. All right. Fun time of the year. Our next item up on the agenda is item 11A. This is the election of a chairperson. At this point in time, I would like to open the floor for nominations for a chairperson for the Mount Juliet Planning Commission.
Seems like we just did this a month ago. I'd like to nominate Luke for another term as chairperson.
Any additional nominations at this point in time? We'll close nominations. And that being said, all those in favor of Luke Winchester as Planning Commission chairperson, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Against? Abstentions? Normally I do vote for myself, but I had to be, thank you guys. You already know my grateful and appreciation for it. I will make a comment to say here that as I move forward throughout the next calendar year, that I would like it at least to be my final year as chairperson of this committee or this commission, possibly final year on the commission as a whole for me, but we'll see. I'm kind of going to make some personal decisions that I have going forward. So, yeah, it's been an honor and it's been a pleasure. Been here since that gentleman trained me to be here. So that'll be a long time ago. How you become the old one in the bunch, it always fascinates me. But thank you guys. Thank you all for your trust, for your confidence. I'm grateful, appreciate staff and all y'all do. Y'all are awesome and amazing. And it's been a very good pleasure. That being said, next item up on our agenda is item 11B, election of the vice chairman for the Mount Juliet Planning Commission, at which time I would like to open the floor for nominations of such. It's a motion and a second. Any further nominations at this point? See no additional nominations. We'll close nominations, at which time I am, or all those in favor, signify by saying aye and raise your hand. Aye. Against? Abstentions? Congratulations.
Surprising outcome. I liken your acceptance speech to I gamble a lot in the casinos, and there's always that guy that sits at the table says, "One more hand,
One more
and I'm
time."
done. One
Yep.
more hand, and I'm done." And
I've
he's there for
said,
hours.
yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate you and your guidance and your leadership here. Sure, I certainly hate to lose you next year, but
Thank you.
I understand your choices.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Thank you all. That being said, our next item up on the agenda is item 11C, is to appoint Jennifer Dunbar as a planning commission secretary. Any comments towards that? Speech for public record. You want the position. You've been campaigning for a long time.
Yes, thank you guys for having me here. My name is Jennifer Dunbar. Just to introduce myself slightly, I'm originally from Charleston, South Carolina, where I was born, raised. I moved here in 2010, and I've spent most of my career as a police officer, most recently in Gallatin, Tennessee. I spent 6 years in Gallatin on patrol, and I did 5 years in the planning department where I was a permit technician and zoning enforcement. I took a brief leave of absence for about a year, and I've returned, and Mount Juliet has been very welcoming. And the last 5 months that I've been here, it's been very enjoyable. I've learned a lot. Thank you for having me.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Thank you for your service. That's awesome. Yeah. My speech wasn't as nice as that. Yeah. Feel bad now. That being said, we'll open up to citizen comments. Seeing no citizen comments at this time, and looking for a motion in regards to this item on our agenda. Motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye and raise your hand. Aye. Against? Abstentions? Congratulations. That being said, looking for a motion to adjourn. Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raise your hand. Aye. Against, abstentions. We are adjourned.
Every time.